I don't know. You tell me what you do.
Well, that's the big question, and I guess we'll have to watch and see. Well, and real situation from the perspective of that's a dilemma for people. And I think what it ends up speaking to is what kind of evidence you have. If it's something that's real and you honestly believe that the elderly are being repeatedly defrauded, I think a human obligation is to do something about that. But if it's little nuggets that don't really add up and you don't really know, then you probably should mind your own business.
And to your point, I mean, just being a lawyer, I don't know if I used to practice law. That's neither here nor there. But my mind goes to like, you get to a point where like, if you have certain evidence, you're like, I could implicate myself by not doing anything with this. I now know too much and this is
Oh,
sitting in my backyard.
absolutely. Right. No, no, nobody wants to be aiding and abetting, right?
Did you feel that, like, well, I don't know if you're watching like Beverly Hills, or I mean, that's the whole thing with like Erika Jane and like Sutton, went to a lawyer and now she was chastised. I don't know if you're up on all that. Like, any thoughts on,
Yeah,
Sutton going?
I'm through the first reunion episode of Beverly Hills. I'm a couple episodes behind. I think everybody has to do whatever they are comfortable with to protect themselves. And I think that that's fine. If that's what Sutton felt like she needed to do to feel comfortable moving forward, great. Who cares? What's the big deal? It's for
So,
her own peace of mind to sleep at night. Great.
so did you go to a lawyer in Salt Lake, Meredith?
No, I do not go to a lawyer in Salt Lake.
What do you think of the whole Erika Jane thing as you've watched this season with the rest of us?
It's a very different circumstance, particularly because it all boils down to whether Erica had knowledge or not. And I have no clue. I certainly think it is very possible she did not. I can understand that definitely being the case, but I don't live in her house. I don't know. Um, if she did, that's horrible. But I think it's very possible she did not. I can't say she didn't because I don't know. But I can get my head around her not knowing anything. Absolutely. Like I could. She married a man who was much older than her. He was immensely successful before they ever met. It could make sense to me that she was not counting any pennies. It sounds like he was kind of controlling too. So she probably didn't have access to a lot of information. So it could easily make sense to me that she didn't have any knowledge.
When you watch this scene that you weren't there, when this whole thing, I mean, we heard it around the world, like, were you as drawn into this particular scene as we were, like as the viewer? Because you weren't there, you were kind of watching it as a viewer.
Yeah, of course, because I was not there, and and I'm sort of like, wait, what? And here's the thing too, is when things are going on and you are not there, you always hear everybody's side of the story of what unfolds, and it's always just a little bit different. Everybody sort of just tells their side. That's human nature. That's what we do. And so you're sort of listening to things unfold, and so that's what's really fun about this is you actually do get to see these moments that you've heard about. You've heard several people tell a slightly different version of the facts, sometimes a wildly different version, but in this case slightly. um, and you get to see it unfold and take your own point of view on it.
What was it like? Because like, this is another situation like Erica's, that it was unfolding in real time as you were filming. Like, what was that like? I mean, again, second season, it's not necessarily what you expect.
No. It's very intense to have something like that because, you know, usually when these big life issues come up like this with people, you kind of have a minute to digest it and kind of process your feelings on it. And you're seeing that, you know what I'm saying? You guys are seeing that. And that's usually a very private moment. So, I think everybody has to kind of go through their own process, and because we are all so different, we all do it differently.
What about for you? I mean, like Erica and Jen are both still on the show. Like if this just it's would never happen to you, I get it. But like if this were something of this magnitude in your life, like would you stay on the show?
It's always easy to speak when you haven't stood in those shoes, and so my immediate answer would be no way. Um, but I don't know until I stand in those shoes. I would just be very afraid of uh something being used against me. It's so easy. I mean, look, when you're filmed 24/7 and suddenly something isn't adding up or whatever else, and it can be tied back to something that can really change your whole life, I'd be a little wary. I'd be very, very cautious. I cannot imagine that any lawyer would advise their client that's involved in any type of legal proceedings, for the most part, certainly not criminal, to go on television, on reality TV. I can't imagine that would be the advice of any lawyer, but you know, to each his own.
That's what I would think too. What
To each his own. But
about
I do understand them wanting to tell their side of what happened. I mean, it does make sense to me. I get it. I just don't know if it's the best idea, but I get it. I definitely get it.
I agree with all of that. What about, I mean, people have said the same about Erica. Like, do you think being in this situation, like Jen understands the magnitude? Look, we don't know if she's innocent or guilty, innocent until proven guilty, but like of the magnitude of the charges, like she too has a social media presence that seems, from where I'm sitting and other people, rather carefree. Like, do you think she understands like the federal government is involved? Like, this is not a joke.
I mean, I don't know how she couldn't understand that. And Sharif is a lawyer. I mean, he practiced law prior to being a coach. So she has someone explaining this like in her home to her. I mean, it's not like she's just going to these lawyers that she doesn't trust or whatever. So I would imagine she has to know. I can't imagine she doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Her social media, I'm just always shocked about. That's just me.
Well, me too.
Have you thought of texting her and saying, Jen, get off social media?
No, and I don't think that would do any good. I think that Jen does what Jen wants to do. And that's probably why, if her lawyers did tell her, I'm not saying they did, I have no idea what they told her, but if they told her not to go on the show, I think she decided she wanted to because she wanted to tell her story. I'm assuming. I don't really know. I'm not inside her brain, but that's what I would presume.
Well, you don't have to give us any spoilers as we watch on this season. As we head into the reunion, anything that you are most nervous about addressing, anything you're most excited to address and bring up? Like,
Um, you know, for the most part, what you guys have seen so far, I don't really, there's not a lot that I'm going to go, that I'm so busy to address at reunion. I think that most of the circumstances that you've already seen have closure in the season if they haven't already had closure. Um, so my issues are more about what's to come later in the season that I'll be addressing at reunion.
which we've
I
seen a
think
few
I
trailers.
think I have to watch it myself to really understand, because like I said, I don't know what happens when I'm not there until I watch it with you guys.
Are Jen and Brooks in a good place? Like, regardless of like what's to happen coming, like just from what we've seen, which seems to have been resolved up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, Jen and Brooks, it's not like Brooks and Jen are like friends that go out and have cocktails on a
Right.
regular basis or anything. They're in a neutral space. I think they're both totally at peace with the situation and moving forward in life. I don't think they're gonna go get have martinis or anything like that, but I think it's fine. It's totally fine. I think for both of them. I
What
hope
about
Rex is fine. He's moving on in life and he's happy and healthy and, doing great. And I would
he's
presume that Jen is moving on too from everything I've